This is a pretty intense image. It shows a young boy on a rooftop in Derry during the Battle of the Bogside in August of 1969. He's got these prepared Molotov cocktails in front of him, which gives you an idea of the kind of situation people were facing. Check out this blast from the past. This photo shows a business-class piano bar right on an airplane from the 1970s. Imagine that. Here's a lovely photo of a Victorian baby being held by their mother. This shocking photo shows James Brock, the motel manager, back in 1964. He's captured pouring muriatic acid into the pool to get the protesters out. It's a really disturbing image. A globe reflecting in the waters of Glens Falls, New York. This photo was probably taken sometime around the 1870s. You know, the less you have, the more you really appreciate it. This photo was taken way back in western North Carolina, sometime between 1914 and 1917. Here's a picture from the 1860s showing a man with a punt gun. Here's a look at the Boireau machine. Now, this rather odd-looking thing was built by the French during the First World War. The idea was to help them cross over trenches and barbed wire, so it also became known as the bridge tank. When the Golden Gate Bridge opened in 1937, it was absolutely swamped with excited visitors. Over 200,000 people came to see the bridge, which really clogged it up. This photo shows two widows together at Martin Luther King Jr.'s funeral. It was April of 1968. This incredible photo shows a group of farmers in Michigan way back in 1952. They're taking matters into their own hands, arresting the sheriff himself. Apparently, he was trying to evict a woman from her farm, all on behalf of an insurance company. It's a powerful image of community solidarity. Here's the photo. This is a really cool one. It shows the 9 kings of Europe all together in one place. They're gathered at Windsor Castle for a historic photograph, and this was actually the only time they were ever all in the same room together. This was taken on May 20th, 1910. A woman is reaching out to a soldier. They're in Berlin, and it looks like August of 1914. Behind them, infantry are marching towards the front lines. Here's a picture of American aviator Matilda Moisant. She was the second woman in the United States to get a pilot's license way back in 1912. All right, check this out. This photo shows a plane looking like it's about to take a nosedive, and the date, way back in the year 1942. Here's a fascinating photo. This picture shows babies left to sleep outside in the freezing cold, all in an effort to toughen up their immune systems. This was Moscow in the Soviet Union back in 1958. Here's a photo of the high jump event at the Olympics. This was taken in London way back in 1908. Here are some haunting photos that show the bison extermination in 19th century America. Here's a sweet photo of a girl feeding her feathered friend. It's such a heartwarming moment, isn't it? All right, here's the image. It shows what they called the human serpent, a group of soldiers, creating a distraction on the front lines. This was in France during World War I, back in 1915. We see residents of Pyongyang, North Korea, along with refugees from other areas, desperately trying to escape. They're crawling over a dangerous, tangled mess of girders that make up a bridge crossing the Taedong River. This was all happening on December the 4th, 1950. They were fleeing south, trying to get away from the advancing Chinese communist troops. Here's a photo of Sophia Loren, taken around 1955. All right, check out this cool shot. It's from the 1930s, and it's called Top Hat, No Tails, Streamline. This show was at the Palace Theater and featured Cochrane's Young Ladies. In the photo, you can see Sonia Hulley, Yvonne Robinson, and Bubbly Rogers giving a performance. Pretty neat, right? Pretty. A classic San Francisco cable car perched right at the top of a hill. It looks like this photo was taken sometime between 1940 and 1960. A real piece of history. In 1984, this is quite a sight. A butler is serving a meal to a table full of dogs. They're in a restaurant in Knightsbridge, London. It was all to celebrate the launch of a new dog food. Here's a photo of Mustard, the mascot for the 321st Tank Company. He's pictured here with Sergeant Paul Postal. Mustard actually joined the tank crew on Halloween of 1918 and stuck with them for the rest of the conflict. Check out this incredible poster from the late 1800s. It's advertising a truly bizarre fight. Imagine this, a showdown between the world's thinnest man and the world's fattest man. Sounds like a spectacle, doesn't it? Here's a photo of a diving champion. It's from the 16th of July, 1933. That's Miss Edith Macready, the new ladies diving champion of England, taking a spectacular leap off the board at the Havre de Pas swimming pool in Jersey. Here's a photo from around 1917. It shows a motorcycle unit of the New York National Guard. This charming photo takes us back to the 1930s. We see two young women having a blast on the Caterpillar ride at the South End Fair in Essex. It looks like they're having so much fun. And this was all happening way back in October of 1938. Here's a picture of Woody Allen from 1953. Here's a neat shot of a fishing boat down at Fulton Market Pier in New York City. This one was taken way back in 1933 on the 11th of April. Check out this incredible shot. It shows a German submarine from World War I that washed up on the shore in Hastings, England. This happened way back in 1919. Pretty amazing, right? Here's a photo from 1939. It shows a Chinese aviatrix receiving a gift in Washington, D.C. Here's a photo of children playing doctors. It looks like a fun game. This is a photo of a black female Union soldier taken back in 1862. Here's a shot of some women window cleaners hard at work in London around 1917. Here's a photo from way back when, showing the police taking down Gavrilo Princip. He's the guy who shot Austrian Archduke Franz Ferdinand. You know, the event that kicked off World War I. This was just after the shooting, and it all went down in Sarajevo on June 28, 1914. Here's a fascinating photo. We're looking at Grand Duke Alexis of Russia's super fancy Landau. That's a type of carriage, but with a twist. Instead of horses, It's being pulled by a Heilmann electric tractor. It's a cool mix of old and new, the classic carriage design paired with this early electric technology. This photo was taken around 1898. All right, so here's a neat old photo. It shows a group of teachers on spring break way back in 1910. Here's a cool vintage shot. It's a picture of cabaret artist Blanche Vaudin in costume, taken way back in 1898. This photo shows a Zeppelin over Berlin back in the year 1915. Here's a fun one. This photo shows an Italian woman looking super curious, checking out the kilt of a Scottish soldier. It looks like it was taken in the Colosseum in Rome back in 1944. A demonstration of the cantilever principle, which was used to build the Fourth Bridge. This photo was taken way back in 1887. Here's a photo of director Alfred Hitchcock on the set of The Birds back in 1962. He's giving some notes, probably to the actors or crew. You know, making sure everything's just right. All right, check this out. This photo shows something called ski sailing. Apparently it was a brand new sport invented in Austria. And here it is being demonstrated in St. Moritz, Switzerland back in January of 1938. Pretty cool, huh? Wow, check out this photo. This is Maureen Murray from Alexandria, Virginia. She's number 18, and she totally nailed the local Princess Diana lookalike contest. The contest happened way back on November 5th, 1985 at the Champion Sports Bar in Washington, D.C. She looks amazing. This photo takes us back to 1941 to a nursery in Hampstead, London. Inside the basement air raid shelter, these babies are sleeping soundly in their baskets. This was the foster parents' plan for war children nursery, and they were doing their best to keep these little ones safe during the air raids. All right, let's take a look at this photo from a coffee shop in Baltimore, Maryland. It looks like it was taken way back in 1930. Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz back when they were rehearsing for the very first episode of I Love Lucy. Can you believe it? This was the start of something huge. Here's a photo of 3 boys fishing for change back in the 1930s during the Great Depression. It was taken in New York. Here's a photo of Sean Connery during his time with the Royal Navy back in 1946. Check out this amazing photo. It's the world's largest log cabin located in Portland, Oregon, in the United States. This picture was taken way back in 1938. This is a really intense moment. It's the instant Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi minister of propaganda, realized his photographer Eisenstadt was Jewish. The photo was taken back in 1933. You can practically feel the tension just looking at it. Here's a picture from Florida around 1904. It's a shot of Joe Jefferson and he's down in Palm Beach. Here's a fun one. This photo shows 2 young boys, probably experiencing their first elevator ride. It was way back in 1948, and you can see they're holding their breath. Check out this blast from the past. This photo shows a McDonald's back in the 1950s. Can you believe it? Here's a picture of something really heavy. It shows a Gestapo informer being recognized by a woman she betrayed. This all happened in a deportation camp in Dessau, Germany. This is the first actual photo session of the Beatles in Hamburg. That was back in 1960. This powerful photo shows the crew of the USS South Dakota with their heads bowed in solemn remembrance. Chaplain N.D. Lindner is leading the benediction, a service honoring their shipmates who lost their lives during the air battles off of Guam. This was all back in 1944, specifically on June 19th. A United States Marine is offering a cigarette to a Japanese soldier. He's buried in the sand. This was taken on Iwo Jima back in 1945. All right, here's a photo of a young boy with a horse. Simple as that. This incredible photo is of Mihailo Tolotos, a Greek Orthodox monk. He lived for 82 years, from 1856 to 1938, and get this, he never saw a woman in his entire life. We've got a stubborn child, probably not having the best day, and they're sitting in a fancy chair. I'm guessing this little one is making a statement. Here's the photo. It's from a series called Children's Dreams here in the United States. And what we're looking at is a child with roots instead of hands. It's really quite something. This was taken by Arthur Tress back in 1965. All right, here's the photo. It's Henry Cabot Lodge, and he's pointing right at a bugging device. You know, the one that was hidden inside the Great Seal. Pretty wild, huh? Here's a photo from the 1920s titled, "So Young and So Happy." Here's a photo from 1944, showing a Finnish soldier with his reindeer. A steam train, loaded up with lumber, is taking a break on top of a trestle bridge. It's on a smaller branch, a tributary of the Northern Pacific Railroad. This photo shows Shirley Slade, a WASP pilot, back in 1943. She was just 22 years old at the time, and you can see her all geared up in her flying helmet, goggles, and gloves. Here's a shot of some girls on the streets of London back in the late 1950s. Here's a cool old photo. Check out this amphibious vehicle cruising along the river back in the 1930s. A photo featuring a girl, a dog, and a mule. It's from the 1921 silent film Through the Back Door, starring Mary Pickford. Here's a photo from 1959 showing a classic scene. You see a group of men whistling as a woman walks past them. Here's a photo of the Wittelsbach sisters. We've got Queen Elizabeth of Belgium sitting down with her sisters. Standing on the left is Crown Princess Marie Gabrielle of Bavaria, and on the right Sophie, Countess zu Thüringen-Jettenbach. This photo was taken sometime around the 1900s.